Amendment 3 has created a lot of buzz here in the state of Florida, and it's crucial that voters understand the real impact of what it'll do here in our state. Now, here at My Florida Green, we believe in having a healthy discourse when it comes to controversial topics, especially ones like Amendment 3. So in an effort to create a fair and balanced conversation about Amendment 3, on October 23rd, we invited the Policy Director of Smart and Safe, Jake Hoffman, the committee behind Amendment 3, to join us in a live stream discussion. Now, rather than having a debate, we engaged in a discussion to help educate voters and ultimately allow you to decide. In this clip from our discussion, we discuss vertical integration and whether or not that will hold up under federal scrutiny. Now, I want to kind of move on. I just want to have a touch on some of the potential federal risks here, because with federal legalization potentially on the higher horizon. No, I know I don't want to get too into it, but I just want to get your idea or your thoughts. With that on the horizon and the state's vertical integration model being under federal. Do you think that's going to hold up under federal law, the vertical integration model, based on what you know?
Well, I mean, look at the other 24 states, and that's where you take your examples from. I mean, look, there's been this weird, hands-off type of policy that the federal government has taken with the states. Obviously, you still have all the issues with banking that they have, that still exist, and hopefully that's addressed. Everybody says we're going to address it soon. I don't know if we're going to actually solve the problem. Again, I really truly believe that Washington is where things go to die. It's just people's souls, ideas, good legislation. And because there's so many crazy hands that get into the pot up there in Washington, D.C. But, how does it affect the states? I think that they're going to take a hands-off approach, kind of the same way that they have with everybody else. Look, it's still everything. Technically, federally, everything is still illegal, the entire country, right? But you still have 24 states and Washington, D.C. itself, all have legalized it at a state level. So there's obviously some sort of it's a wink and a nod type of, agreement that they have. Look, despite you doing something that's federally illegal, your state legalized it. We're not going to, have a war over it. So they're letting it go. And so how that plays out in between the Washington, D.C., I make no predictions about what happens in D.C. I especially depends on what happens in this election on November 5th too. I mean, you're going to have two, you've got two candidates who are saying they want to do something about it, but both historically, their attorney generals, other people in the party and everything have obviously blocked federal descheduling and things like that for a long time.
Yeah. Well, it's something, and I asked this question only because we've been following very closely with the potential federal legalization of medical marijuana, and it is quickly approaching. In fact, they're going to resume public hearings on December the 2nd. It's already been in public hearings. So it's very possible that that's going to pass from a medical standpoint on a federal level, which would still make it recreationally illegal on a federal level. But, something that is concerning, and it should be concerning for legislators in the state of Florida, is the case that's going on right now, Horn v. Medical Marijuana, Inc. It's creating a debate whether RICO applies to that or not. And that could create significant lawsuits across all cannabis businesses. And that's why it's so important to separate the medical from the recreational. I think that could really be a huge win for the state of Florida if we did that. And the DEA is literally pushing for rescheduling marijuana from Schedule 1, which is the most severe, it's up there with heroin and, all the worst drugs, and then down to Schedule 3, which would be similar to benzodiazepine or,
it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen. Everybody's anticipating it happening. I just don't hold my breath with anything that goes on up in Washington, D.C. I really don't.
If you want to see the entire live stream discussion, unscripted and unedited, go to our YouTube channel, or you can go to our Facebook page for My Florida Green, or you can get the audio versions on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Feel free to check us out. Get educated before you vote.